My name is Gail Roositer, principal of Allisdale Primary School. I've been teaching for 40 years. I started in 1973. Our school is 73 years old. Our school was established in 1940.
And it was known as Allisdale because it was named after Princess Alice. At that time, she was the wife of the Governor of the Cape.
Our roll at the moment is just on 405. Teacher-learner ratio is averaging at about 35, 36.
We've got children from the area as well as from the greater the areas on the outskirts of the Athlone area, and then also from the townships.
My typical day would start coming in. Our school starts at 8, and if we have any urgent matters to discuss with the staff, we might have a short meeting just to sort of get the day started. Our school day starts normally with a half an hour reading period, which is a compulsory. All learners and the teachers, they do reading, whether it be silent reading or group reading or whatever.
Basically, we try to empower our learners to be equipped to face the challenges that lies ahead, especially at high school. We make sure that they are ready for high school.
Normally my mornings are quite busy because then you would have parents coming in, for whatever reasons. I see to that. And on certain days I also do some IT lessons with certain classes.
And yet at Allisdale, they do give the children a good solid background. Personally, I do have experience of that. My 2 children are now in high school, and they were adequately equipped.
And of course, in between those tasks, there are the normal administrative, managerial, leadership planning that goes into a day. The teachers leave at 3:30, the support staff leaves at 4, and often I only leave after 5.
The priority is for us to manage our classes as teachers. Obviously, are not just the actual teacher, that compassion that you share with your learners as well goes a long way.
Well, academically, we don't really have a wide choice because we have to do the subjects that is mandated by the education department. So we have to follow the normal curriculum.
We end up being social workers, doctors, nurses, psychologists, and the job just goes far beyond just the actual teaching.
The department allocates a certain number of educators per school depending on the number of learners, but we believe that children need to be active, and it's not always possible that the teacher has the expertise or the time to take children out, so we employ a physical education teacher that takes all our learners for an hour a week for physical education, and that person is paid by the school governing body.
And we try to lead by example by, making an environment that they will feel comfortable in, providing that positive stimulus for learners, because some of them come with domestic issues that it's sometimes so sad that we don't have the necessary skills always, but we try.
So we would like our children to be involved culturally. So we have a lady who does our choir once a week, also for an hour on a Wednesday. And that is also paid by the school governing body.
And we try to impart not just the knowledge, but the skills that they can use for life. After primary school, going into high school, and eventually going to tertiary school, tertiary level as well.
I want you to have a look at this one.
And then we also participate in spelling bees and maths Olympiads and competitions annually. Coming from a kind of a poor to a kind of a middle class socio-economic environment, We find that one thing that we struggle with a lot is our school fees. Our school fees comes in very poorly.
And particularly children from this school, because most of them are underprivileged and they come from underprivileged backgrounds.
In former years, we used to get a target of about 80% of recuperation of school fees. Nowadays, it is 50% and less. And that obviously impacts very negatively on the running of the school and the resources. So, finances is always a problem and always an ongoing activity that we need to do so that we can keep the school resourced.
Even though there is sometimes lack of resources, we bring things into the school, from home. We buy things out of our pocket, if I can use that term.
Everything that we do at the school, we have to fundraise to get the facilities.
The key to good school management is that parents must become involved with the education of their child at school.
We have quite a good system of volunteers coming into our school.
It's a kind of a support system that we do need. Being a small school, small staffed school, we find that any extra help, if it is something that's going to spin off positively and assist the teachers as well as the learners, then certainly it's something that we can accept and will allow.
There's various forms of volunteering at the school. One of the forms of volunteering is when we do have any fundraising, there's many parents coming to volunteer on whatever capacity they can.
I personally try and encourage where I can people to become involved, because there is just such a need for the volunteers to come and help.
We offer up our time, half an hour per child, just to help the child through whatever he's struggling with, especially reading.
We also, because we cannot employ, if a teacher is absent for a few days, for a couple of days or for a week, the department doesn't provide a substitute teacher. A substitute would only be given if a teacher is absent in excess of 2 weeks. So in that way also parents will come and they will assist and they will supervise in the class for a very minimal stipend that we give, because that is all that we can afford.
Ideally, we would want all our parents to be involved, not only with the learners, but that interaction between the parent, the teacher, and the learner should be in place. Because with that kind of communication, our learners obviously will make the progress that they should.
And somehow it makes the child's learning also better, because then the child has got this drive to show not only the teacher that the child knows and wants to do its best, but also to the parent because of the involvement.
My children, I have 2 children here. It makes them want to learn better, want to come to school, because I'm here all the time. And by me being here, I can help not just my children and any other child.
By parents coming to school, whether it is to do a job, whether it is coming to assist, or just coming to school to find out how my child is doing, will give that child, I think, more motivation to perform better at school.
We find that if parents can be just slightly more involved and take a better interest in some of our learners, that they will thrive, and especially if we want them to make that progress going to high school, to be prepared.
The teachers cannot do everything on their own. We need the help of the parents, we need the help of the home, and I think that sort of creates a better atmosphere. The children see that school is not just a place where it's the teacher and the learners, but it is a place where parents are able to come, where parents are able to assist, where parents can have a discussion with teachers, and all this is done in the interest of the children. We had to move with the times, and of course IT for a long time has been in the forefront, and I'm actually proud to say that I think our school is one of the first primary schools that acquired computers in the school.
Over the years, we've tried to move away from the talk and chalk approach as a teacher. Look, that can be effective on its own, but that is no longer just the only way that we can teach. I find that in this day and age, there are so many new things that our learners are exposed, and we need to bring it into our school, into our classroom.
And I think through all those initiatives, one needs a champion to drive it. And I just decided that that was the role that I was going to play.
When they reach grade 7, they can do lots of things on the computer. They are well equipped.
The library at our school was initially just a dream, because we found obviously the need that we needed the library.
I found that, for the learners to have the written hard copy in front of them is very important, so that they can see the written word. We don't just have to tell the children, you must read every day, you must go home, you must belong to a library. We need to set the example by having the library at our school, so that the children can physically go and look at the books and read the books.
Our learners in the area, they have access to the Athlone Library, but for some reason or another, they just don't get to the library.
And this is why I decided, look, this project needs to be started. It took a bit of time, a little bit longer than I thought that it would.
And it just didn't come to reality just like that. It took hard work, it took dedication, it took perseverance.
We had the support of certain organizations, also with the setting up of the library, giving us sort of guidelines in terms of how to go about setting up the library.
And I needed all these assistance and ideas from people. And of course, our neighboring schools. One would phone a school and say, listen, what did you do to get this going?
And she was the reason why the library came into existence. She used to push and talk about the library.
You don't have to wait on the Western Cape Education Department for some funding or anything from books or anything like that. You just need to form strong relationships and stick to what you believe in and go for your dreams.
There was a lot of books donated.
Of course, we had to be very selective in the kinds of books that we were going to accept. I accepted everything, but we couldn't use everything in the library. We had to kind of sift out books that we could use.
The shelving was done voluntary, and even the cabinet was made.
As far as our own parents are concerned, we have our parents coming around and they would help to cover the books with the plastic.
And then when the outcome of the library, on the day when the library was opened, it was a very joyous, proud day for everybody.
Managers need to be good visionary leaders. Managing is one thing. Yes, we have to manage all the time, but we're also leaders.
One needs to have a certain vision and also focus on the things that are important. So for successful school management, you must ensure that certain structures are in place. Certain things are implemented correctly as well. The consistency of these things should be upheld.
I think the progress and the success of the school is due to the way Mrs. Roositer runs the school. She's a very adequate and well-organized principal.
Look, I think from a principal's perspective, anybody, you would expect certain aspects from a principal, but Mrs. Roositer, she takes it a step further. She just doesn't sit behind her back and hoping for things to happen. She's very proactive. She's formed strong relationships with people.
So she's been the inspiration. She's been our inspiration. She's been there for everything. And she's done a very good job.
And I admire her drive and commitment in seeing the bigger picture and seeing it through. Because surely you've got your daily activities that you need to do from a principal perspective, but she takes it beyond.
This was my very first school that I taught at. It's also going to be the last school that I am going to teach at. given the opportunity, I'll probably do it all over again. So I'm only hoping that whatever changes I've managed to effect at the school has been to the benefit of all concerned, and that it will continue. As somebody said to me, Mrs. Roositer, you've got to slow down now. You've got to not do anything anymore because you've got to leave something for the new principal when that one comes in. So I said, don't worry, there will always be projects